Legends, hope you're all well. In this video, we've got a pretty cool one. We're going through the team I Love the Amateurs More, who end up coming second in 2022. So obviously, again, if you're looking at this at the end of 2022, great to have a look at, do a bit of learning, and then rewatch it in the preseason in 23. So we see here plenty of interesting trades that we're going to go through. He's actually written something up for me. So I can go through all these trades and what he was thinking at that time, which is going to be pretty cool to go through here. And just to start off with, we're going to go through the rank history and didn't have the most perfect start, finishing the first round at 5,600. And really from there, the lowest that he got down to was 1,166 and spent a fair bit of time in sort of that 400 to 500 range before getting to 159. And then by the time it was round 13, ranked 43. And then slowly improved along the way. After round 17 was 49th overall, and then had a couple of really good rounds there, 19 down to 8, 4, and then kind of held steady around the 2 to 4 mark. Well, actually just held at 2 for the rest of those 5 rounds. So we're going to go through all those trades now and have a bit of a chat. What I will find interesting though is he actually said this to me that this was just a second team actually that ended up doing really well, and he says it in here, so I can rat him out anyway on that one. But yeah, the original purpose of the team was just to make up some numbers in one of the leagues. Started the year with a few pods in Lucy Leilua and Benny Hunt. So the Lucy Leilua one actually failed him to be honest. So wasn't exactly what he'd hoped for. Didn't score very well in the first round like you'll see here. But Benny Hunt started well. Yeah, that helped him out. Obviously not the round 1 score, but the next few rounds came out and really did well. So that was that with those two. Had some of the common cheapies and mids in Stephen Crichton, Max King, Randall, Nanai, Hines, etc. So yeah, did really well with those guys and started with 3 guns in the wing fullback slot. Teddy, Pap, and Hines. What he's saying is he felt there's a bit more value elsewhere in terms of could get some of the cheapies in other positions. Which end up working okay with the guys that he's looking at there. You had Stephen Crichton, you could have played in centre or wing fullback. And going for Teddy, Paps, and Hines, in his eyes, was just seeing that you could have 3 guys that you were probably going to lock in for the rest of the year. Obviously, you had an injury from Pap, but Teddy most likely held the whole year, and Hines obviously from day one. So playing all 3 of those there, you didn't really have to worry too much about the wing fullback slot then. There was some value in centre for sure, and obviously definitely in other positions as well with Randall and stuff up top in that hooking position. So very interesting that play there. And then also tried to bank a little bit of cash in this one in case of an emergency trade during the week. That was more the theory with this one. He said, okay, the round 1 score of 885 was solid, for 5,600 overall. Cheapies weren't looking too good. Lucy Leilua 26 and Ben Hunt the 35 was not ideal. So heading into round 2, he traded out Amone, just basically off that first round and thinking that he wasn't going to be too involved and didn't look great. And I think a lot of us mentioned that. He did come into his own a little bit through the middle of the season, but yeah, it didn't work out too well. And bringing in Isaac Tungall there, cheap Penrith outside back, was a bit of a no-brainer. Yeah, I suppose would have been nice to have him in round 1 instead of Amone, but yeah, got onto that early. And that's the best thing. If you think someone's not good enough, you're like, oh, nah, to the eye, not exactly how we wanted it to be, then jump off as soon as you can. In round 2, got that score of 859 and moved up to, about the 450 mark overall, which was good. So good scores from the pods, got the team moving up to rank 453. So Benny Hunt, solid. Lucy must have done okay in that round there. Heading into round 3, Lockie Ilias, he was starting to annoy him. So yeah, I got 2 rounds out of him and then moved him on. And again, he could have been someone that you could hold for a period of time there and try and milk what you could out of him. Also fine to move on. How cheap he wasn't really annoying us too much in terms of his with that price. Like if he was about 450k, then you'd probably look to move on straight away. Be holding or selling was completely fine in this scenario because he could have come out and started playing better. The Rabbitohs had a really, really poor start. If they started well, he would have scored better, like you saw through the middle part of the season. They didn't, and it took a while for them to get going. So this trade was completely fine. And then Sean Russell, obviously having him from the start, decided to move him on just to look to make some cash in those early rounds. Bringing in Leo Thompson after showing some good signs in round 2 was a good idea. So starting with him would have been ideal as well. And bringing in Taylor May really early was great. So I think he picked him up after his first game, potentially, where he scored well. And then you got the rest of his price rises and his great scores. So another really good round 3 score. Pod starting to fire, moved into rank 156. So Ben Hunt 60 and Lucy getting a 50 helped him out. Lucy was pretty expensive, but they were both around that 650k, right? So yeah, team looking good with most cheapest gaining cash and guns firing. That's exactly what we want. Round 4, we tried out Bullymore, not getting the minutes and losing cash. Time to move. Yeah, I think he just really just made correct decisions on cheapies at this point. Is all we're saying. Decide to hold steady with the field of pods that were going okay. They didn't have a great first round, but he held on to them strong. There was a reason you picked them out in round 1, right? You picked them for a specific reason to get you some decent scores, and they are players that are going to be a little bit more up and down in their scoring, but overall, they will get you a solid average. So the decisions made this far were just making sure you had the correct cash cows in each round, and that's a good lesson to take from here on in. Round 4, grand captain for a score of 47. Ooh, ouchie. Otherwise, team was solid. Just missing the captain cost me a few ranks here, down to 451. Okay, that makes sense. And decided to hold trades in that one. All right. Yeah, so when the team's solid, you got the cash cows going. There's no one really struggling massively as guns, then you're fine. Another bad week. Concern for Ben Hunt 29 after this one. Backs looking thin, but felt they would improve. So Taylor May, Crichton, a few of those guys down to rank 1166. So okay, use 2 trades in this one. So you could say is an interesting 2 trades here. Probably one of them is interesting. But when he had captaincy on Grant getting 47, then getting Cleary in was obviously in the mind a big one to help. And then he had a horrible score as well. Obviously, I think he worked down about round 8. I think is when I got him. But I can understand why. Honestly, when I picked him up too. Hold on. Oh yeah, sorry, that's exactly what the correct round. So the round I picked him up when he got like that 90 odd or 100. So yeah, that worked out well. Okay. Anyway, so Ben Hunt out with him starting to struggle a little bit, and he felt like he was starting to slip away from the top of the rankings, aiming to stay in touch with the top 500 through the season. So had to make the play for Cleary. I think that's fair. Hunt for Cleary was a great upgrade. Stephen Crichton down to Moali ended up being a bit of a poor one. And yeah, couldn't find the money to get rid of him all season. So it might have cost the Moali one might have cost him at getting first potentially, just with the fact that he didn't get any cash gains from him from a guy picking a cheapie in round 6 that was very poor. So it's very, very important to get the correct cheapies and swapping even sideways trades on a crap one to a really good one can make your season. If you get that 200k in gains, then you can find a way to move them on, cash them down, move them up fairly easily. So the Moali trade might have hurt him a little bit. Stephen Crichton didn't really hurt too much, but making that trade down to Moali in that week, there weren't many options, so I can understand why, but obviously just might have hurt him a little bit for sure. But improved rank there, 429 in that one. Round 7, held trades. Cleary trade really started to pay off here, saving me from a bad score again with the captaincy. Few concerns with players starting to peak. Origin approaching, so starting to look for buy round players down to rank 1065. So heading to round 8 there. Sitting in an okay position, but nothing crazy. Obviously going to see some good selections coming along here. All right, round 8, we see Kurt Mann out. So he was injured at the time, and Nanai being an Origin player. Well, at the time, we didn't think he would be. Hey, we weren't sure. But the price was starting to peak, and I agreed with that trade in that time. It was completely fine. The trade-ins was the interesting one. Just Savanga had a good experience with Jazz in the past. Felt as though the minutes were going to be there for him, coming off scores of 56 and 57, and he would be a buy-round player. Yeah, it just didn't work perfectly, did it? Had 1 or 2 decent weeks, but a few low ones in there. And the Jackson Hastings trade was great. It's definitely nice to watch over that period, just absolutely dominating, accumulating points just minute on minute on. Very, very, very good. Yeah, getting that 76 out of him in that week was great. Obviously, Jazz, I think, only got 30 odd in that one. So you round out to trading Man and Nanai to 2 guys that scored 50. Great trades. Well done on that one. And then obviously an improved team ranking on that one. Round 9, Lucy Lua, another tough call. Early mail he was gone for a few weeks, decided to jump off. Yeah, I think it was okay at that point, right? And Andrew Fafita plodding along, not really making cash. Yeah, he done enough, right? Trading in Adam Elliott, probably one of the best trades of the year until the back end of the season, but he was awesome, very cheap. And then bringing in Crichton, started to hit form, thought he was a chance of missing Origin, allowing for another buy round player massively underpriced. So you're getting on Crichton early was the way to go. He scored really well up until round 15 or 16. So you got a good bunch of scores from him. He obviously didn't play the first Origin, which was great. So a big score. Missed the captain on Hines when he got 132. Yeah, that's when my head-to-head team captain Hinesy. But yeah, nice improvement to rank 159. We had round 10, so Ryan Papp got injured. Schneider was peaked. I think they're two great trades. For Josh Jackson was playing big minutes a lock, buy round number as well. So it didn't work out eventually, but the Reece Robson trade was amazing. Really, really good on that one. Proven gun when playing 80 buy round player. Yeah, going him over Reed Marnie was the way to go in that week. Solid score, rank held steady at 163. Round 11, we saw Chris Randall moved on and Leo Thompson plodding along as well. So moving on to McInnes, solid option, big minutes a lock, awesome. And Trent Peebles, so yeah, fell for the trap as well. It was a bit of an unlucky one. He actually had a really, really good game, and then that next round in round 11, he didn't score very well at all, and then that was it. So no good. But yeah, 950. Team starting to look pretty good. 124. He's got the correct cash cows. Obviously, a few guys that are peaking, which you can see here in someone like Kelma Tuolangi there. And Brody Jones was injured during that time as well. So bring in Nat Butcher and Jacob Carraz. Again, two good trades. Butcher, seeing what he's been able to do in big minute roles. And Carraz was a good cash cow. By that point, he had shown that he had a few games in him of high quality. Even in a pretty poor team, the team started getting kind of good around this time. Played 4 to 5, 6 really good games, and he obviously benefited from that. Round 12 scored 908 there. And round 13, some big moves heading into the bye. So we decided to make 3 trades there. Josh Jackson wasn't delivering, so I actually tried to jump early on Josh, which was very, very interesting. It ended up being a great call. So you can see here, just the decisions were made. It was like, okay, he's not delivering what I expected him to do. I move on from him. And that's a good strategy. It's a good way to go about it. Billy Walters at peak, sweet. Hastings work rate dropped after an ankle injury, last minute trade out. Worked out pretty well. Xavier Savage came in. He was a solid one as a cash cow. Tohu Harris looked like he was back to his best. Yeah, that time he was for sure. You get him as a buy round player that could be a gun. Joey Manu, last minute trade in, probably another one of the best trades of the year. Always delivers over origin period at fullback. Also a handy player to have with the dual wing fullback center. And he was a bit cheaper at that time, so that worked out great. End up with 13 players for the buy round, which is really, really good. Joey Manu, an absolute master. So that would have been Hastings to Manu. Whew, how good. Push him in the top 50. Managed to dodge the bullet of Tohu as captain and went with Crichton, who pumped out a 60. Nice. Oh, yeah, I remember that Tohu. He only got like high 30s, didn't he? Round 14, Tavanga, time to move on. Did his job over round 8 to 13. Cool. Same thing. Stop delivering, move on. And he was never going to be a long-term solution. So, yeah. Peoples moved him on and then brought in Dylan Brown, begin to plan for next buy, solid base with upside and attack. And he kind of worked out during that, round 20 odd from that point, but he didn't score amazing through that period. And Ezra Mam, around 17 cashy, he did really good. Team well and truly firing at this point, dropped to rank 53. Held trades in 15. Cash starting to flow with Carraz, Savage, Mam. So again, always having 3 to 4 cash cows that are doing their job. Round 16, Tungo looked to have peaked. Awesome. And brought in Kennedy. Base price at the time, allowing to free up cash, whilst also another number for the next buy. Yes, that was his thing. Yeah, the amount of like red dots doesn't really matter. You only need 1 or 2, right? So you can loop. So Kennedy, the worry with him is just that he had a 4 in his game. He had a 10. He had a negative in his game. So when you brought him in this time, he actually got a couple of 30s, which worked out great. But there was definitely a risk there for sure. Team flying trades up sleep, allowing me to go all in for round 17, rank 44. So that's good. You can see that a few weeks there that he's held off. The odd week with 1 trade, a few weeks with 2. Allowed him to go nuts in this time. Round 17, Tohu hadn't been delivering, needed more buy numbers, so he had to go. Again, this is one of those ones where you go, okay, I look at what he's done in previous years and not going with that. I'm not going to go with the previous experience. I'm going to go with what he's delivering right now and moving him on. And again, it worked out. Most of us held him for the rest of the year and he kind of delivered some weeks and others he didn't. So, if you have the extra trades, these are the things you can do. Other times, it's something you can't do. Carraz hadn't peaked yet, but needed buy numbers. Yeah, he was pretty close, right? 500 cow something. That Butcher did his job over previous buy, time to move for a gun because he was struggling at that point with minutes and whatever else. Savage made time to move on. Again, cool. Clemmer had a really, really good late year, so bringing in Clemmer then. IPAPs, only bringing in IPAPs in round 17 was something that my team, I believe, did as well, and he's someone that I missed, obviously, earlier in the year. There weren't too many guys that were being super, super consistent, and he was one of those guys. But he did a great job, so bringing him in then would have been great. Trindle had the big upside for the 1 week in round 17. He was really cheap. And then you had Latrell. So Trindle scored well that week. Latrell did great. Took the punt on Latrell over Pat for my last wing fullback keeper, and that worked out perfectly. So again, 4 really, really good trades in round 17. They all did their job. which is great. Managed to go up 513, which ended up a solid score. 9 players for this buy after going all in on round 13. But yeah, we're still able to use the 4 trades for this round, which was good. Holden's ranked 49, very happy after only having 9 players. Good stuff. All right, round 18, McInnes out for DCE. Wasn't scoring as well as I would have liked. For Newcomb back as well. Yeah, fine with that. DCE needed half cover, proven elite gun. Jeez, he didn't do exactly what we wanted, did he? Arson Cleary in the emergencies, but big guns fire. Slapped the seal on Mano against the Dragons. Most missed tackles of any team in the company. Turned on absolute clinic of 103 points. Nice work. Latrell 98, looking juicy and still a pot at this stage, into rank 19. Time to push in that top 10. We had Maxi King, not a keeper. Yep, he was close, but not really. Ezra and Will Kennedy. So you just use guys for certain periods of time. So 3 trades in this one for Cam Murray. Perfect trade. Dewey, great trade. And Zach Docker-Clay was meant to reverse this and get M by, but forgot. I suppose it didn't really matter too much, did it? But yeah, again, 2 absolute guns, trading out a high mid-ranger, and Ezra was kind of a mid-ranger as well. Kennedy made a little bit of cash, did his job. Another big score, team pretty much complete at this point. Geez, that would have been nice. Playing to Luke May and Dylan Brown for the rest of the season with 6 trades up the sleeve. Beautiful. Into rank 8, round 20, no trades. Felt as though the team was done at this point, firing all cylinders. Again, would be nice. Coverage 4 positions and trades up the sleeve. Round 20 score. Managed to dodge the biggest ball of the season and clear his 1 point. Yeah, that's pretty cool. In terms of didn't captain him. Yeah, 2 or 3 teams in the top 10 who didn't captain him. That's good. Went with Cam Murray as captain, who turned out a 77. Nice. Into rank 4. Clemmer got suspended for abusing trainer look. Couldn't afford to risk playing May. Okay. So yeah, again, the trades up your sleeve. Worked out, and that you could do that trade just for a 1 week injury or what, 1 week out, whatever it's going to be. Cleary out, offering Galway in, massive trade. I don't know why this guy's playing 70 plus minutes, but I'll take it. Went him over Yo, with fears Yo getting rested in the final round. Yeah, good idea. And then Munster, he was perfect. Those 2 trades, whew, nice, man. Clemmer out, worked out. He had a few good games at the end of the season, but Cleary out, well done. Cracking score for round 21, offer 74 and Munster 93. How good is that? Felt like a god at this point. Yeah, well, for sure. 12.30. Yeah, and you make the 2 trades and they both deliver. It hardly ever works, so well done. And this was then into rank 2. Bit of a lead on 3rd place and wanted to push for 1st. Reece Robson out. Ooh, okay, fair enough. Taylor May injured, cashed out to get Cook. Fair enough. Rapana actually had a few decent rounds at the end, hey. But Damien Cook wanted a pot against 1st place. Also feared Robson would be rested in the final round. Interesting. Yeah. Again, how did you not have Cook for the whole year? Crazy. And he still came 2nd. So good. Solid score. Luck ran out after Robson turned out at 84. Yeah, it's tough. Concern for Elliott. Work rate dropped off after rib injury and held 2nd place. Pretty standard week. He only 2 trades in the bank's hands were tied with Elliott. Yeah, that's the tough thing. So if you didn't make that push, the Robson one, you could have been able to trade out Elliott, for example, potentially, and might have been able to make a play for 1. But again, pretty much made every trade perfect until this point. So it had to be 1 or 2 that were not great. Elliott 36, very annoying, agree. Cooker laid out, so took the punt on Cotter in that one. So Cook to Cotter. Again, see that Cooked one was just frustrating. It was just ended up not working out, which is what the majority of our other trades for all our teams do. Your team basically worked out really, really nice. Elliott out. Final rounds had to play for a 1st. Tino went to Hail Mary. How did he score in the last round? Must have been too good. Captain IPAP led the downfall, but managed to hold off 3rd by 4 points and finish 2nd. Congratulations, man. Awesome team. Awesome game. Awesome year. We'll still give you shit for it being your 2nd team and not your 1st, but it is what it is. Just a big thank you for sending this in to me. I hope that helps a lot of people heading into next season. And so what takeaways I'd say from this are, making sure that you trade early. Like if you don't pick the right cash cows early, you're trading early to get a good one. Good tick. From there, stick strong with a few of your guns that you select early, but give them 3 weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is. And if you feel like they're underperforming for that stretch of time, then it's okay to move them on to someone that's firing and get on them for a bunch of weeks. It looked like there's a few mid-ranges or like the Jazz Savangas and stuff that you jumped on for 4 or 5 weeks. And then moved on and got the cash, got the points that you need, and then you can stepping stone to another guy. So I feel like that was a little bit in here. And then obviously just made the correct moves. You know, if someone wasn't doing well, there was someone firing, they picked them up and really were able to jump on them for that time. And then, you know, Hastings, for example, jumped on while he was doing really well, got the ankle injury, got rid of him. Josh Jackson, same deal. So made these trades that didn't work out perfectly well. The Josh Jacksons, Torkel Harrises, these kind of things there, but was able to move off quick enough and had the trades available to be able to do it. If you handicap yourself with making some dumb trades across the season, it does stop you from getting to that final team, getting the team value, and getting the correct players that you need that are firing at the correct time. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that. Thank you again to I Love the Amateurs More, the second team, for doing so well and giving us this information here. So I appreciate that. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. And I hope to see you all in 2023. See you later.